I mean, ostensibly, we don't live in an especially violent culture at the moment. You know, this is not a notably violent society. You think of contemporary British society, and I'm not sure it's egregious violence that I'm necessarily interested in or worried about. And in many ways, some people might argue that the young people who are sitting at home cyberbullying or manipulating on social networking sites or watching hardcore pornography or playing violent first-person shooter games are not out in the streets doing it. You know, there might be an argument that the people are actually committing low-level and even higher-level acts of crime and kind of social disruption are those who are excluded from this new wired world of license that is available to perhaps kids who are from a more affluent background. But it's more this kind of this anomie, this alienation that concerns me, and this febrility of the imagination. And you see it in a lot of screen-based media where it's now possible with CGI and with the kinds of levels of effects that are available from, you know, 3D effects and computer manipulation of images. Nobody has to make much of an effort to suspend disbelief in things. You know, you want to see what it looks like if somebody's liver explodes out of their body. It can be done convincingly. And it's this combination between this kind of, it's all happening on a screen. There's no kind of disjunction between, you know, the screen of a car, the screen of a computer, the screen of, you know, the screen-based life, and the fact that it is effortless in a way. The stimulus of purchasing something, the stimulus of communicating with another, a kind of anonymous or invented avatar, the stimulus of shooting something that's itself unreal in a first-person shooter game, the stimulus of looking at pornography. These are very kind of visceral, very primary reasons for interacting, and they don't require effort. They're effortless, and they don't require any suspension of disbelief in the ordinarily understood way. I mean, if you like, the most kind of antithetical form, in a way, would be something like opera, which nowadays requires quite an effort of suspension of disbelief, that you have to will a belief in it. There's something about the act of will involved in believing in preposterous things that I believe is the very kind of muscle and key of having an imagination. And if you are spoon-fed everything's plausible, everything is within the same patina of reality in that way, I wonder what these younger people are going to be like. It seems to me that you have a screen, you have a keyboard, you have a mouse, you have a situation where you can flick in one instant from buying an oven glove to using the oven glove to perform frottage or at any rate seeing somebody use the oven glove to perform frottage on an underage, non-consensual sexual partner, to a situation where you're on a social media site and you're asking whether people want to indulge in oven glove sexcapades of one kind or another, that all of these things are taking place on the same screen, as it were. So that's why I think that it plays very strongly to suspension of disbelief or lack of it. In other words, there's a point at which all of these things can seem equivalently real because they're taking place within the same arena. Ordinarily, when you walk around, of course, we have a not particularly unconscious mind that is preoccupied by sexuality and by violence, but we know absolutely what the difference is between that and the external world or the world of social codes and social mores. Indeed, if we don't, we're insane, and we are treated as such. It's a form of psychosis. But here you have an arena which you can interact with, which is inherently psychotic in that way, that all of these things have the same kind of equivalence, the same kind of, to use a fancy term, the same kind of ontological status. They're equally real. And I just don't know what the minds of people who spend a great deal of time in that particular realm are going to be like. But I think it's worrying. I mean, from what I observe already in young people who spend a lot of time on the web, it definitely gives me cause for anxiety.